Hey Virgos, this is Hal for HES Ultimage, and this is your channeled forecast for the month of November. Hey guys, so no long updates anymore. I learned my lesson. It'll just be a few minutes, and then we're moving on to your forecast. But, I constantly evolve and change with this channel, and it's kind of important to keep you updated. I'm not using tarot and oracle cards anymore. So that's first off. I'm just channeling the messages directly now. So, yeah, kind of important to convey those types of things. And that includes readings as well. I'll have to update my website to say that, but people have already been receiving these and been very satisfied. I mean, it's really the same thing. It's just me not having to rely on laying out a spread to get the information that I already technically know, not having to meander through lots of information. So I made my own channeling deck with these index cards of my own archetypes and other shades and facets, and hopefully it'll become a deck eventually, but I'm not in a hurry right now, so that's the one thing. Second thing, springboarding off of that, I'm now actually doing these short readings, these a la carte readings, as I call them, one short question, and mini monthly, they're only $20. That is the lowest rate I have ever charged in my whole career, including the debut of when I first started doing this. The reason that I'm doing it is now that I'm so much more happy with the quality of a short reading, because the fact that I channel directly, I can still give a good amount of precise guidance and clarity without having to, again, meander through a whole, 20-minute spread that could have happened in 5 to 10 minutes with me just channeling it directly. Okay, so now that is now available. It's been very popular so far, and now it's nice to just be able to pass that on to everybody, and that you can take advantage of it. Because yeah, it's not a common thing, so now I'm just glad that I can offer that to people, since again, it's like now that I can channel faster, you benefit as well. All right, okay, so now moving on to your forecast. All right, here we go. So, yeah. Let's start off with this, that you don't need to be skeptical of everyone and everything this month. Okay, and again, this is for November, so remember that this is very specific, that November requires this kind of examination. The past does not always denote what you will experience later on down the line. Okay? So, any suspicions or skepticisms that arise from past experience, you need to kind of tone it down and learn to be a little more open to giving everything its own fair shake and its own fair evaluation or objective point of view. And I was already told that I have to be careful about how I word this to you guys, because you're going to take it as a free pass to still be skeptical about everything, and I need to drive home that really, as much as it's one thing to be discerning, that for some reason with November and the pattern here, that it's more important for you to be more open and less skeptical, and for that to be the overriding idea, and maybe it's more, just keeping in mind that you should still have your eyes open, okay? That's the idea. It's like, okay, it's okay to have your eyes open and be, aware if something doesn't feel right, but to assume that everything is wrong and to assume that all people are out to get you or something is bad, okay? Especially in November, alright? And we've got more here too. But just to give you this in general too, and to give you some examples of this, if you're always thinking that people don't like you, or people are out to get you, or to sabotage you, or are plotting behind your back, or you leave a conversation or a person and you go, oh my god, they hate me, they don't like me, they think that I'm this, that, and the other. It's not a good habit, guys. It's really bad. And this sounds obvious, but this is something that I have encountered, and I gotta tell it to you straight, guys, that Virgos have this hurdle in abundance. That Virgos do tend to be the sign I have noticed throughout all of my, you know, just whenever I would know a person's sign, that Virgos tend to have this most often of any sign I know. And don't get me wrong, I've got Pisces in my sign. Pisces can be very self-conscious, but I think that Virgos tend to embody or, internalize self-consciousness that is not always necessary or constructive. Be objective about that this month, okay? That if you're feeling this internalized skepticism or fear or suspicion, that you go, okay, this might just be like some crazy cosmic stuff and I need to work through it, okay? And again, I'm not trying to be too critical, okay? I have to give you what I need to give you through the message, and I know this is one of the, like, tough nuts to crack for Virgos especially. Okay, so I know this doesn't sound like an easy assignment, but, and everybody has their own chart too. You know, everybody's comprised of a lot of different signs and energies. I've got Pisces, I've got Capricorn, I've got Taurus, okay? So I also understand the pragmatism of Earth signs, okay? I know that sometimes we want to look at something and go, I don't know about that. I want to deconstruct this and, you know, make it very political or whatever, okay? I understand that point of view. But in November, it is an obstacle. It is a shade upon which it helps pretty much obscure you from opportunities in November, okay? And I'll start to go into that too. But, like, know that I have to tell it in this way to give you the motivation and clarity necessary to face it, to identify it, okay? Because identification is, like, I would say not even half the battle. Probably 75% of the battle is identifying what holds us back. Identifying opportunities, identifying places we need to grow or go. All right? Okay. All right. Give me a second because I've got more. Give me one sec here. Yeah. Because I've touched on a lot of this already now. Okay, yeah, and just, like, reiterating this part, because this was the other bullet point here, you will have better luck receiving new opportunities and connections by being more open. Okay, so again, that's the idea that if you're a little more open to people or a little more open to opportunities that maybe normally you would analyze very closely and start to worry about all of the different elements that could go wrong, so to speak, because this is the skepticism angle of it, which is an overriding theme of the month here, that you can miss out a lot, okay? Okay, alright, next one. You can be fearful that people may be ingenuine or that offers may be suspect, but give things a little less suspicion. Alright, and I already touched on that, so there that is again, but that was the bullet point there. Okay. And this is a big one, so, okay, so I'm going to give you a few more examples before I get to the big thing, because the big thing's like the big kind of cosmic evolution-style message. So just a few examples of how this can pan out for you. You might wind up meeting somebody and thinking that A, they don't like you, or B, that you don't like them because you're reading them in a way that's technically wrong. And by getting to know that person better, they might open a door for you, or they might become a friend, you know? That's one example of how turning the, it's kind of like you've got blinds and you have to, like, turn that little, you know, that little cord dial, whatever, to open them up. That's what you're trying to do with this whole skepticism energy. You're trying to turn it from you're in the dark to seeing a little more light and seeing a little more clarity, because it does block your judgment in the end, especially in November. Okay? Other example. If you're suspect about a job opportunity, possibly. Now, some jobs just aren't great. Okay, I'm going to be honest about that. We still have to be vigilant in this age of the technology and internet age of Craigslist and things like that. But let's say you go apply for a job, okay, and it's a regular job. You go and you fill out an application, and maybe then you start going, oh my god, there's this responsibility. I might not be able to handle that. This sounds kind of crazy. Is it going to be too much work? And just start going on that, like, run of all the things that could go wrong, and that's the skepticism suspicion angle, that you might wind up not even like accepting the job or even filling out the resume instead of, you know, doing it and then maybe just getting that job and being really happy with it, okay? So you have to remember to just be open and not to be too hard on your analytics this month. Yeah, and remember, you know, there's nothing wrong with being discerning, because this was the thing I was afraid of with people. You know, you can't just go, okay, so in November, I'm just going to say yes to everything because. It's not about that. It's about being more open to the fact of, okay, I might be looking into this a little too much, all right? Or I might be being a little extra pessimistic about how I'm looking at this situation, and maybe I need to give myself or that other person or that, you know, opportunity a fair shake, all right? And you can use, you know, some real, you know, I would say instinct when it comes to this. But remember, in your case, there's going to be a greater fog around suspicion and skepticism, so you have to be able to look at the fog and see the fog for what it is, you know? Otherwise, you're going to miss out on stuff. Okay. Now, last one. If you are never willing to extend yourself, you may or will never get the chance to evolve. Either to evolve yourself as a person or your life in general. So this is the big thing and bringing it on home for you. If you are never willing to extend yourself and always think someone's out to get you or something is out to get you, then you will never be able to experience things as they are intended, you know? We have to communicate with other people to grow. We have to, you know, work in certain places or go to certain events or, you know, step outside our doors to grow and evolve and experience life. So if you're always afraid that something is going to go wrong or that something has malicious intention for you, then you're not going to be living. So in November, remember this. And remember, to be living, you have to release the fear complex and the skepticism complex and the suspicion complex to really be out there living life, all right? So that said, I do personal readings. If you want one, hit the link below or go to hesultimage.com, spelled just like the channel, and I will see you later.